it's hard to see me behind that podium, so I always ask him remove it so I can be free here. Doing whatever I want. I can be very animated. Anyway, my name is Lily Tang Williams. My Chinese name actually was Tang Rong. Chinese name will go first, last name goes first, then first name go later. And when I came to this country, my sponsor said, nobody can pronounce your Chinese name. So he said, what would you like? I said, well, my Chinese name, Rong, is a city flower in Chengdu, my hometown in Sichuan, which means water lily. So they will say, oh, okay, we'll go by Lily then. So that's the story. My American sponsor, journalism department professor in University of Texas at Austin, gave me that name. He passed away, unfortunately. I don't know what he would be thinking what I'm doing today, because he is actually a pretty big liberal professor. But he knows how hard time I went through to flee China, so we have some common ground. I owe him, because he brought me to this country. Without American sponsor, I could not make it. So this is my name brand. I should probably put down here, Lily for Liberty. If you have Facebook, Twitter, that's my brand, Lily, number 4, Liberty. When I started to get political active 2014, run for state house in Colorado, I knew I could not win first time, second time, maybe third time, but I'm in this for long haul to fight for liberty, so I use name brand Lily for Liberty. That's one smart idea I had. How many of you have been to China? How many? You all can say 您好. Can you say, when you say goodbye in China, you always say 再见, right? 再见. And of course, I taught John how to say also other things in case he gets lost in China, like how to find a telephone or restroom and water, beer, something like that. Chinese language is hard, and when you are there, you can pick up pretty quick. See, this works? So I wanted to share my personal stories with you, how I transformed from a formal indoctrinated little communist, or I would call myself really more like a little slave. A child was born into Cultural Revolution, did not know anything else but one source of information, one source of indoctrination. It's always communism, churn my mouth. So how did I become outspoken liberty activist today in my second country called America? So after today, you will know. Now you can go follow me on Facebook and Twitter and email, whatever, to share my stories. If you've been to China, I want to show you where I was born. See here is Chengdu, which is the capital city of Sichuan province. And that's next to Tibet. So if you want to go to Tibet, you have to fly to Chengdu or take a train. It's a long way to see Tibet, to go to Lhasa. Right now, it's kind of a restricted area for foreign tourists, because what they're doing to the Tibetans, who are Buddhists, who wanted to they want to coexist peacefully with the Chinese government, but they were not even allowed to do that. So here's Shanghai. So I was born in Chengdu, grew up there until 17, took 3 days train ride to Shanghai to go to law school, was like a college degree in that time. So it was a 3 days train ride, and I was 17 years old. I just turned 17, first time to leave home. And of course, China is now second largest economy in the world, but also largest authoritarian government in the world. And we are the largest population in the world, but third largest in terms of land masses. So if you have never seen my baby picture, this is your only chance. I was a little horse, and then my baby brother is 17 months younger than me. My mom, dad, my aunt. In order to take a portrait under Mao's China, you had to go to government-run little store, pay money to take family portraits. You know communism, they control everything. All means of production, no private ownership, no private properties. So by the time we get ready, dress up to go take a family portrait, my aunt insisted to come. It was like a holiday. My dad and her had good relationships. Okay, you can come to join our family photo. That's why people sometimes thought that was me. I said, no, I'm like a little girl on a horse. You know, I insisted. I guess I don't remember the time when I took this picture. My dad is a very interesting guy. He's one of the most influential men in my life because he was born in the countryside, very far away. And when he was 1 year old, his dad died of a mysterious disease. And we don't know what that disease, was. It could be anything. He was landowner. He was smart man, educated, writing court papers for villagers. But because his disease, he had to sell all the land to pay for the treatment. And he died anyway because he just couldn't, treat it. Then my grandmother became a single mother with 5 children and had to work on 2 farm jobs to keep family, going, to feed them. Then one day she got bitten by the farm dog, got infected, no money to treat it, and she died. So my father, which is youngest of 5, become orphan at the age of 5. And so the older sisters had to just kind of through arranged marriage to say get somewhere you can eat food. I think my dad said he didn't know, there's like one brother's got a mental health issue, don't know what happened to him. My dad was adopted by his uncle who did not have a child to say, son, I can feed you if you work on the farm, work hard, but I have no money for you to go to school. So my dad, probably natural born intelligent man like his father, but never went to one-day school. He could not even read in Chinese. For years and years, I had to help him. And but he is a man with a human dignity. When he was a teenager, people bully him on the farms, he will fight back. Then he got stronger and stronger physically. When the communists took over in 1949, they went to countryside, recruit him to say, hey, you want to work for Chinese government, we'll pay you salaries. My dad was struggling from bread to bread, one meal to next. Of course, he would love to get paid and have regular meals, So he left the countryside to go to Chongqing, working for one of the biggest Chinese steel enterprises. Later went to Chengdu, met my mom through some kind of friends relationship, and dated, got married very young, like 20 and 25. And that time to get married under Mao, you have to go through permission process. So they both have to apply, say, hey, we want to get married. With your Communist Party boss blessings or approval, they have to approve your marriage, who you're gonna marry to. And my dad at that time was a Communist Party member. They recruited him because he's dirt poor. When you're dirt poor that time in Mao's China, you are red, right? He's a red class. He's also very capable, very sociable. Even though he cannot read, they want to get him to move up and send him to workers' college. And he finally gave up. He cannot do any math. He cannot read any Chinese. And he come home, asked me to do his homework. So he finally said, I gave up. But when he met my mom, got married, then they have to register a household, which is, we call the hukou. That's one of the fundamental systems even today that the Chinese government control you from your birth to death. So when you get married, you register your household, you get a little booklet, and that booklet entitled you government benefits, food rationing coupons, going to school, and open up a bank account and going to government hospitals. Without that little booklet, it's like you don't have life, you don't exist. So when I was born, I was added to the hukou booklet and the household registration and all the kids and stuff. And that's one system they use to track citizens. Another system, of course, later we'll get to, is called a child file. So my dad become my hero because he's full of dignity. Whenever he has conflict with Communist Party bosses, they treat him like basically you are animal. You are just one of the numbers. He will always fight back, even without education. He will not just be treated like dirt. So they want to send him away to work in the countryside, which is 2 bus days right away. He said, I cannot go. I have 3 kids. My wife is sick. I need to stay here work. So they push him to retire earlier. Now he said, oh, I'm smart. I'm a very hardworking industrialist. I can start my own business. And then the government would not give him a permit to fix bicycles, to pedal tricycles, to carry passengers making living. So he basically worked for years in the dark streets of Chengdu for a decade, illegally, to feed us, put me through 4 years college, and treat my mom's health issues. And now he's 81 years old with lots of health issues, had a hard life, but he loves America. I brought him to this country. He's living in Parker, Colorado with my brother's family. And so he is like my hero. And I just wanted to tell you that's how you know I'm against all government regulations, licenses, whatever. It's like I feel like it's like government take away your right to make a living, then sell back to you as a license. Do we need that from the government? It's like no. It's like I have a natural right to pursue happiness. And the next picture I want to show you talk about mass starvation from the 1959 to 1961. And I was born 1964, just 2 years before the Cultural Revolution, but after the starvation period. But we still had to live on government-issued food rationing coupons. And this is one courtesy of my American friend who used to live in China. He brought some souvenirs back from China. He kept them. I said, could you give me a copy? I need to show this to people. Of course, I don't have pictures of those coupons. This is from Heilongjiang province, which is northeast China, Manchuria. And they tell you, 1978 here says, and then with this coupon, you can go buy basically a bowl of rice. So to give you an idea how much stuff we have, like for meat, for example, all protein, including meat and eggs. Every person in my neighborhood who is working bottom of blue worker class, it's about ½ pound per month. You can have ½ pound per month of meat or eggs, add eggs. So for family of 5, we had 2.5 pounds of pork or eggs for family of 5 per month. It's hard for me to be a vegetarian today. I'm telling you that. It's like I was deprived of eating meat, eggs, and all the meat and stuff. And I just love food so much. I mean, especially come to this country, I have so many choices here. And I was hungry all the time. So every 2 hours, I was hungry. And my parents, because they're so low class in terms of their positions inside of factories, they don't have that many food rationing coupons. If you have better positions, like my neighbors, some of them will have a milk powder. Like they will boil water with milk powder, smell like milk. When they boil it, it smells wonderful, make my stomach really growling. But we could not afford. We're not eligible for milk powders because my dad's position was so low. You know, he was just one of the blue-collar workers, maybe slightly better than countryside peasants. You know, lots of peasants died during the starvation period. And people think, say, this is my first school grade picture. See me here? People say, why are you wearing this ugly checker box pants? I say, ugly? That was the only best pant I had. I did not have a choice. That pant had no holes. Normally, we get a piece of new clothes once a year for Chinese New Year. And so we had to patch up our holes. And well, my daughter is wearing blue jeans with holes today in this country for fashion. But I said, go. I said, I'm not going to spend $40 buy a blue jean with holes on it. Because, we got used to wear holes. Old clothes, patched up. And so I pick the best pants to wear. But you notice I don't have a red scarf front of my shirt. And only those when in the front had those. They are the best students. You know about Young Pioneers. They are the grassroots communist organization for elementary school students. So if you get nominated to join Young Pioneer, you ought to be so proud. You're the red child of Mao, and you get the praises all the time. I wanted to wear the red scarf very badly, but I wasn't allowed to join because when I was first grade, I made 100% in all the subjects academically, and including physical education, political studies. But I told my girlfriend a little private message to say, I bet I will be first one to wear red scarf. I was a little bit too confident. And she reported to teacher on me. And I got a call into office. The teacher said, I'm not going to let you to join because you are too confident. At the age of 7, I was criticized for being too cocky, too confident, too much individual expression. And then she told me that, we have a collective society. Everybody should be humble, should be the same. You don't want to stand out, okay? You don't want to be too confident. I wasn't happy. I talked to my parents, and they were very red too. They said, well, your teacher's right. I do remember Chinese famous saying, though, the first bird flying out of forest gets shot first. After that collective lesson at the age of 7, I was very suspicious of everybody. I could not trust my friends, my family. I had to hide my true colors. But I was very competitive in nature. I wanted to become Young Pioneer. I wanted to be class president of my class. So I did everything right. After that, I decided I'm going to move up, but I'm going to also hide my true self. It's like living in two different identities. Is that sad? As a child, I cannot be natural. The picture you saw today, I had to keep it secret. I have an album to keep my personal photos. I never thought I would show you guys when I come to America someday. I just thought I'm a human being. I'm entitled to my own feelings. I want to keep my personal sentimental items. What's wrong with that? But it's not politically correct. They will criticize you. So here, I show you, I wasn't happy here, but I decided I'm going to conform. I'm going to move up. So I become a Young Pioneer 1 year later, and when I become middle school student here, I become Red Guard. Red Guard it's another student organization for the youth, like middle school and high school. So it's Young Pioneer, then Red Guard, then Communist Youth member, then Communist Party member. There are like 4 levels organizations under Mao. So I become Red Guard in middle school, and here's our plaque. Says Red Guard, and you got to wear. This is our kind of like a mouse jacket. You wear green jacket with a white shirt inside. This is standard. So when you deviate from this standard, you will get criticized. You have to confirm. I show this photo a lot on Facebook because I talk about data as a child. So when you go to school, every child has a file called a student file. It's in a big brown envelope. Everything inside is secret. You cannot see what's inside. Your parents are not allowed to see what's inside. It's just within state right and power to collect data. And So once a year, we got to go take pictures. The government wants to know each child what you look like at end of year because we change it so much. They might not recognize us, right? Especially when you go through puberty, it was like guys start to have beard or something. And every year we got to take this picture, then they get a copy of it. And it documents everything, your grades, your political stuff, your religion, your family background. Did you have any disciplinary actions? You don't know what's inside. Right now, probably nowadays, but it's all digital. Like we talk about China's social credit system. So you see the history of a tyrannical government track you from birth to death, and you have no right to know what's inside. It's just ridiculous when you think about it. The Chinese are used to it. They never question this system. They don't question today. Some people like social credit because the society is in order. It's safe for everybody. They always overvalue safety over liberty. That's how we were brought up. And talk about Karl Marx, right? And we, as a middle school student, we would get to go to military training every summer, and we would dress up in white shirt in the summer and carry big Supreme Leaders posters, Mao, Lenin, Karl Marx, Engels. We will carry them and hold a little Chairman Mao's books. We will march on the street, go to certain location and sing songs, and then get trained by military people. No chance to touch their guns, but only march like them do. And then we will write diaries. They want you to write diaries after each political section. What do you think? Tell us. And I have learned you better not to tell the truth in those diaries because you turn them over for teacher to review. And if you did a very good job, they will read aloud to all the classmates. I have learned at the age of 7 about that lesson, don't tell the truth. So I write very fast. I write very good articles. And so by the time that I went to middle school, I loved the military camps because at least you get outside the classroom, right? Because our classroom really was bad shape. In the winter, there's no windows, so the wind come in, cold come in, no heating. In the winter, no AC in the summer. So in the winter, imagine, wow, when we did our studies, we had to stand up every hour. Just jump, 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 jump. Clap your hands, clap your feet. So you stay warm. Now you go to your math and Chinese studies. So when you go summer camp, at least you go outdoors. If you write good articles, I got rewarded for being the best, like a camp and class leader or something. Then you get to play little shortwave radios of military style. That was cool because we were too poor to even have a radio. When I first time heard a classic music, it was in my courtyard. I told Tim today about the courtyard. The courtyard was 8 families community housing provided by my dad's factory. And you think it's free, that's wonderful, but to tell you about poverty, the 8 families share one bathroom, one water faucet. The bathroom is a big hole on the ground and 2 bricks. Of course, divided half for man, half for woman, and 2 bricks over the hole so you can go there squat when you use bathrooms. As a girls, you have to squat, you cannot stand up. So that's even harder. And when the light bulb goes out, nobody cares to change the light bulbs because, hey, it's a free public housing. It's not private owned. So I was always afraid to go to the bathroom. Once a month, a peasant come in to dig all the human waste out. You have to clean the hole up and take all the stuff out before they get full again. And it was so stinky in the summer. Our apartment was right next to the bathroom, so everybody had to walk through there to go to the bathroom and go back to their apartment. Bugs everywhere, and everything crowds. Oh, I had a nightmare about that bathroom. After years, I come to this country. So now we live there. I even don't know when I started to live there. My memory started there. Maybe from 1 to 15. I did not even have a picture. When I was 15, we moved to better house, a little bit more modern. Now 2 families share one bathroom. And still have to squat. But it has a little bit like a lot cleaner whole sewage system. Now you can push this button and water will come out, flush it. was better. And then my brother still lived there. And one water faucet. That means when you run the water, you cannot cook or clean. So my dad has to build a tank to store water. He's a survivor kind of guy. He said, what if we run the water? There's long line. So I'm the oldest, so I needed to use big pot to carry water. Just walk to the outdoor kitchen and dump there. When I went to college, and all the Shanghai girls are so weak, they see me have two little strong arms doing 50 push-ups. It's like, oh, you're so strong from Sichuan, because I said I used to carry lots of water, very heavy, And so that's our community housing. So when I can go to school and do some things like this, I feel like, wow, at least it's fun, And you probably recognize the Chairman Mao's little quotation books. You can order from Amazon bilingual today. And what do you think about the girls' hairstyles? They were unisex styles. We had to do approved hairstyles. So if you have hair like I do today, just laying down freely over your shoulder, no, band. Ponytails, pigtails, or look like a boy, unisex style. For some reason, that lots of those ideology like communism, dictatorships, they don't want the girls look like a girls. They don't want you to look attractive or pretty because that's kind of capitalist style. No makeups. I had to learn how to do makeup with my daughter's help in this country. I think I only had probably lipstick in college when I was older. They want you to look plain. Everybody, of course, was dirt poor, could not even afford any kind of makeup. There's nothing on sale anyway. Everything is like a state rationed. You have one kind of toilet paper, one kind of soap brand, and one kind of just all state brand of everything. And they talk about food rationing. The worst is when I was 8 years old. I'm the oldest. I had to get up, go stand in line to buy the meat or a bag of potatoes or some 5 pounds of Canadian flowers according to your food rationing coupon. But I don't know if I lost it or some boss steal it. I got up like 5 o'clock in the morning, stand in line and jump up and down and stay warm. I lost them. And my family did not have meat for a whole month. And I was so afraid that my dad's gonna spank me again. I talk about my dad getting mad. It's like, oh, family's meat is all gone. I feel very guilty because my family just lost whole months of protein. If I, those other coupons would be worse. I mean, you don't even have enough rice to eat. So for the girls that time, you cannot look pretty. You cannot date. I tell a story. I feel very guilty today. I was class president. One pretty girl in my class came to me say, oh my God, this boy sent me a love letter. So one boy sent her love letter in middle school, and she did not know what to do with it. It was banned dating, and she knew she's not supposed to receive that letter. And guess what? I was a little good communist. I said, well, you know what to do. Go turn over teacher. And she did. And boy never smiled again. He probably was read off and sad and frustrated. I don't know where he is today. I could talk to him, treat him dinner, apologize, do whatever, have big talk about liberty. But I feel bad. It's like I was just like a state agent. I do whatever because I truly believed, oh, those things should be banned. We need to only focus on building our country, be loyal to Chairman Mao. And so what do we do every day when you started the government school? The beginning of the session, you will hold a little Chairman Mao's book. You will all stand up, and then you will chant, long live Chairman Mao, 10,000 years. Long live Communist Party, 10,000 years. Then we'll sing a song. Back then, when you talk about love, it's all collective love. You cannot talk about man love, woman, parents love, child. We have a famous song we sing all the time. My parents are dear, but the Chairman Mao is more dear. There is a song, still got lyrics like that. Yeah, you don't talk about romantic love, and it was a forbidden subject. So those girls, If you wear colorful clothes like my Chinese jacket today, silk, red, will not be politically correct. My hairstyle will be banned. I always show people my Chinese clothes when I go talk, especially young people. The girls always look like just so angry. It's like, how you cannot even wear hairstyle like that? You cannot even wear your jacket like that? Well, think again. When you want the government become more and more powerful, when you have a communism, that's what it is. They tell you what to dress, how much to eat, how to look, and what hairstyle to wear. You know, that you are not human beings anymore. You're just one of the masses. You just follow your machine. You just follow your great leaders. And the only entertainment we have, besides singing revolutionary songs, you know how horrible Mao's wife, Jiang Qing, started Peking opera. Have you ever tried to hear that? It hurts your eardrums. It's like it's like that. Always they want to cover your ears. But we dress up like minority children here because, you know, China has Han people like me, 95% people like me speak Mandarin. But we have 50 other minorities living southwest of China, and we were told to dress up like them. Then we still sing their song style in their music, kind of pretty folk song music, but with red words like, oh, thank you, Chairman Mao, for saving our villages, feeding us food. Thank you, Communist Party. But regardless, hey, we look pretty. We don't have to wear blue and green and white, and so, you know, we were really pretty innocent. So here's me, and that's the one you can truly smile. Whenever you sing songs to thank Chairman Mao and Party, you can really smile big, right? You're happy. You can, if you cry, that's even better. But in other occasions, when you're happy, people don't understand. They will say, Lily, why are you smiling today? I'm naturally born happy person. I have a smile on my face when I go to elementary school, middle school. They always question me, everybody's suffering, why are you happy? So I used to think, oh, I don't know, today's nice day, cloud is pretty. Later, I remember how to be politically correct. Because I'm thinking about Chairman Mao, you know, I want him to be healthy and long live, 10,000 years, long live Chairman Mao. And then I smiled really big. Oh, that's good. Okay, no problem, you know. Everything is a political size. But here we can smile because we are innocent. We're just thanking the government for giving us stuff. And during Cultural Revolution, we're allowed to worship any god. I was Buddhist, temples shutting down. My mom, my grandma keep themselves quiet because if you tell people, oh, I want to go to temples to say, God bless me, Buddha bless me, it's not politically correct. Everybody got to say, you know, prayers, you know, to only believe in Chairman Mao as our supreme leader. So our statues were burned, and the Buddhist monks were holding sign to say, what is the Buddha's scripture? It's all BS. It's like making Christians hold the Bible, say this is BS. I denounce my own religion. Can you imagine that? Of course, they were not happy. They were wearing mouse jacket, no more robes and stuff, like traditional clothes. They had to do this, or they go to labor camps. Intellectual people, like a Beijing president, university president, you know, during the Cultural Revolution, Mao closed down all universities and high schools, all schools for urban youth to participate in a revolution, a cultural revolution, so that students had all their time in their hands every day to do political campaigns. So this president probably is dissident, went to like a little on-campus neighbor camp. Every day they get him out, throw rocks at him, make him to confess his crimes. You know, you just have to stand up there like this all the time. Otherwise, you know, you just get more beat up. You know, all those Red Guards, you know, were very naive, passionate young people. And my uncle was one of them, Red Guard. I had 3 uncles, one aunt. And this is my favorite uncle. He was 17 when high school closed down, when Mao finished use up all the Red Guards for political campaigns against his enemies. Now he said, go to countryside, young people down to the country, right, re-educated by peasants. The truth is that the kids become violent now in the cities, killing people. The general owned the central government. You got to get those kids out. So school were still closed. So Mao just sent them to countryside. He's just politically brilliant. That's how you get rid of young people. You just use their innocence to serve your political purpose. My uncle was excited. Oh, I'm going to countryside. I'm going to get paid salaries now. It's like everyday hard labor and the political study at night. He went there from 17 to 27, whole decade, without high school diploma, without education, and came home single. He could not even marry a local girl. If you marry a local girl, remember I told you about household registration. Now you are stuck in the countryside. You cannot come back to cities because they tell you that's where you're confined to live. You have no freedom movement. You have to stay where you are. So he said, oh, all those girls are pretty, and he had to overcome his temptations to marry one. And I remember I had 7 pennies, Chinese pennies in my pocket. I gave all to him. That was my lifetime savings. I was an elementary school student. You have the 7 pennies, uncle. I saw him once a year, come home to visit. My grandma had 0 parents' rights. When Chairman Mao said, you go to countryside, your last child can stay. So my aunt can stay. All 3 other sons went to countryside overnight, all for 10 years. So he lost 3 children overnight. He cried and cried, but what can he do? People say, what if you just don't go? I say, well, my grandma will be going to labor camp herself. You don't understand the machine, the communist regime machine. They have a block committee in every neighborhood, every cities. They know who live in your house, who lives there, who gets food ration and coupons. You cannot live off of grades. There's no way you can go hide in China. I'm telling you, even today. So back then, my grandma had no choice. She just cried her eyes out, and they writing letters, this uncle now is in his 60s today, very bitter about his past. And I'm constantly reminding him, hey, you need to be careful about what you post online. Somebody will knock on your door. He said, well, I have suffered enough. I'm just going to do this, And he's pretty outspoken. His daughter is worried about that too, but he's retired now. He actually went back to Yunnan, where he served for 10 years as a Red Guard, and like their weather, and the people still got old friends there. So I told you about, I went through Cultural Revolution as a child from 2 to 12. Mao died. I was 12. When Mao died, we wear this black armband for a month to mourn his death. You cannot smile those days. You will be criticized. And this is a Mao statue in the middle of Chengdu downtown, and still there today, but it's all commercialized nearby. But when he died, that's when I was so sad. I cried my eyeballs out. And you can see this girlfriend did not have a red scarf. She was born into black family. Chinese citizens were divided into 10 classes, 5 red and 5 black. I was lucky to be red because my grandfather sold all his land to treat his disease. My dad was dirt poor, no school education. My mom was dirt poor, but she, I think, had some grandfather, owned some land or something. She was classified as black class family, so she can never wear a red scarf. So I was very sad, and I just wonder, why did Mao die? Because we all say 10,000 years, he becoming like a god, right? How did he die? That means he's a human? I start to question, it's like, was all the past what I heard was lie? 2 years later, the Communist Party come out, did clarify it. Okay, Chairman Mao was not a god. He was a human being. He made a mistake. His 10 years Cultural Revolution was a big mistake. Well, yeah, of course, China almost collapsed economically completely, and lots of chaos, poverty. So what do I believe now? That was my religion for all my life. Thank goodness, school reopened, college reopened. I had a new goal, new dream. I'm going to college. I'm going to best college in China since my parents never had education. And if I don't do that, I'm going to be working for state factories all my life in Chengdu. That's what my parents told me. You better go to best university. You can get the best education. So I did. I focused on my school studies from 14 to 17, 3 years. I think that was last year's middle school and the 2 years high school. I only had 2 years high school. And by the time I took the 3 days nationalized college entrance exam, you probably have not heard about that. We call it Gaokao. Gaokao means nationalized college entrance exam, 3 days in July. Every kid has to take that in order to go to state 4 years college. If you don't score high enough, you will not get accepted. So it's all become education now. It's all becoming studied for test. Teachers are rewarded if they teach well about how to take a test, and there are more students go to universities. It's not really about quality education, because I just remember we just had to do tons of homework every day. But I was determined. I needed to do this in order to change my life for better. But here's the one thing though, they want you to fill up your top 5 choices for universities in advance before you take college entrance exam. What if I shoot too high, but I screwed up on my test? Then I'm screwed, I cannot go. So some people were some good ones on the top, some bottom ones. I choose top 5 best law schools in China because I wanted to go law school so bad. I had a math teacher in high school. I was 16. I went to visit him. He was sick for weeks. And I was class president. And I teacher, why are you so sick? He told me a sad personal story. He was a fresh college graduate in the 50s. And a party come out to them to say, hey, children, college graduates, you're the best, brightest. How are we doing to rebuild New China as a communist party? He was naive with his friends, gave a true feedback. Then what? Get on the blacklist, go to labor camps, doing like feeding pigs. His health was ruined. He's got a long-term back pain issue. And he told me, Lily, our country is ruled by men, very few men, sometimes one man, and not a rule of laws. That just hit me so hard. It's like, we have so many human beings in this country. Why do we have to subject to a few men's rule? Instead, we have laws. Everybody is equal before the law. So I said, I'm going to go to law school, best law school. I thought that's going to change in China. And my neighbor told me, oh, your parents are illiterate. You want to go best law school in Shanghai. Oh, it's like, oh, impossible. Laugh at me. I always tell people from my stories, they encourage students, do not let other people to define you, to tell you no. You know yourself. You need to be confident. Well, maybe here is my confidence comes to play, right? I was criticized for that. But I did it. I did a 3 days test. I scored high enough. I'm one of the 3 students go to this university law school from Sichuan province of 26 million people at that time. And before I went to university, I went to this beautiful mountain in Sichuan called Emei Mountain. It's an enchanted Buddhist mountain where you can go to mosque reopened, you can pray, you can play music. We always got used to picking opera, red songs, and when the open door policy happened, wow, we can have Western instruments come in. We can hear Western music and more classical music too. I remember I fall in love with country music and John Denver's Rocky Mountain High. And Country Road, Country Road, and there was, yes. So I don't know how to play guitar, okay? I just want to hear that beautiful sound just by playing on the string. And then my last chance to ask for blessings, because I'm a first person ever leave my home state to go to Shanghai by a train ride of 3 days away, hard seat. Hard to sit, that means you don't have a chance to lie down. You sit on your butt for 3 days and just do this, you know. Sometimes I will sleep on other people's strangers' shoulders, you know. And by the time I got to Shanghai, I was totally pooped. I was like very, very tired. And my family all crying, but I was so excited. I said, don't cry, don't cry. I'm going to have a new life in Shanghai. I just turned 17. But I was so excited. It's like, this is going to change my life. Because for my entire life, I was spent in my home province, Sichuan, which is more isolated. But if I go to Shanghai, I can be exposed to a lot more new ideas, new people, and commerce. That's what I was looking forward to. Well, first day in school. By the way, the first picture you saw on my presentation, I was hiking towards Liberty. But that's the story I told John. I was walking into college gate with my mountain stick and the pepper sauce on my back and the 2 braided hair because they told me Shanghai food is very plain, Lily. You cannot swallow them. You have to have Sichuan pepper sauce. And I just went to hiking mountain, so it's natural. I keep my mountain stick and I walk into Fudan University gate with the pepper sauce on my back. My teacher said, you must be from Sichuan. How do you know? Well, you got a Sichuan pepper sauce on your mountain sticks. I said, yes, I'm from Sichuan. So I got a nickname in college called the Little Pepper. They all know And then it's very disappointing. I forgot about this. This is our college freshman registration papers. I told you about, hey, take an updated picture. Here's all your personal information. And down here is my 2 parents, 2 siblings, 2 younger brothers. Down here is all my extended family information. My grandparents, my aunts, uncles, who are they? Where do they live? Who do they work for? Are they party members? Are they religious members? And what is your relationship with them? Like good, close, or not so close? They want to know everything. So when you say, how come Chinese don't rise up against their government? How can you? One person becomes dissident, your entire family is in jeopardy. You know what happens even with this Miss Universe in Canada, a Chinese girl, when she become outspoken against an organ harvest in China, her father was threatened in Shanghai, said, tell your daughter to shut up. Or the Cultural Revolution will happen to your father here in this country again. She was quiet for 3 days. She struggled. She finally decided, I'm not going to be silenced. I live in Canada, Western democracy country, and I have a duty to tell the truth. But that's the same thing with the social credit, everything. Everybody is afraid. Well, I was threatened by being outspoken in this country so far, just in the past couple years, doing speeches, and they attack me. I even don't know who they are, fake account on social media. So to fight for your freedom and liberty to tell the truth against the largest authoritarian government, you have to have courage. You have to manage your fear. So if I can manage my fear, I tell Americans who are not active, like, what are you afraid of in this country? Well, we have to do this together. And we cannot just, there's always trade-off. Either you live free or you die, right? It's like I would rather die standing up than on my knees like a slave. That's how I put it after what I went through. So I got this from a connection, a friend who became law school vice president. This is not supposed to be here for you guys to see it. There's a huge personnel building on campus. Keep all those files there. And I got as souvenir of my law school reunion, 2015. People laugh about it. I feel my heart was very heavy. They don't think twice what that means. I know I did not like it, but I brought it back anyway. In college, we become more actually open to the Western ideas. We had a party. At first time, I learned about Christmas. And this Chinese guy dressed up like Santa Claus, just ho, 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 Merry Christmas, pass out gift. When you pass out gifts, like really, truly just free giving, it was like unusual. In China, somebody gave you gift, you got to be cautious. What do they want? It's a reciprocal. It's they want a favor back, right? But now it's like, oh, I did not get any gift, but I was amazed. Look here, there's my little eyes here. I don't know who took this picture, but I just remember, oh, I feel so warm and fuzzy, with Santa Claus, with Christmas music. And here's our university dormitory. 6 girls share one little room, bunk bed, top and down. Our bed is a lot smaller than your college twin-size bed. And, but it was a free college. My dad had to work very hard to send me money for food and books. Every month was 15 yuan from Chengdu. Send the money to a bank and I go pick it up so I can feed myself. But I was always hungry because of the money just not enough. So sometimes near end of the month, down to only money for rice, just rice. You cannot have anything else. So our college student life entertainment is a deck of cards. We had no other amenities, just study, be indoctrinated, and play cards. And our life is like a military camp. 6 o'clock. Everybody got to wake up because there's a university loudspeaker. Dun, 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 time to wake up, time to do exercise, time to go to class. Then news and songs. Then 10 o'clock at night, lights off. So how do we even play? We have to go to the hallway where you have to run to bathroom at night. That's the only place that has lights on. So we were kidding each other, tell jokes. There's no light to study inside the dormitory. And that was one of my best fond memories. I remember in order to be a rabbinic college student, I refused curfew. Then you have to go jump sometimes into, this big gate. You better wear good shoes and good in shape. Might break your ankle or something. We were looking at the stars one night past 12 o'clock. Me and 2 friends, beautiful stars just outside campus. And all of a sudden, security guard came in with the police stick, just hit my butt. It's like, oh, oh, hey, what are you doing here? It's past your curfew now, you college student. We were 19 years old, adults. Oh, I'm sorry, sir. Oh, we just forgot. We're enjoying beautiful stars. We forgot the time. Well, go back now. Otherwise, I'm going to report your department chair. You will get disciplinary actions. Yes, sir. Yes, sir. Okay. God, inside of me, I just did not like that man at all. They have no human touch, no human understanding. We commit a crime by staying outside, admire beautiful stars. It's like, we're not supposed to have fun at all. Just go study, go sleep when they tell you, rise up when they tell you to. It's like, what kind of life is that? I mean, it's like, that's why lots of people today, we still don't understand freedom, because we didn't have any. So this is our entertainment. And when the college students become rebellious and they had an excuse to have party, burn some fire, and they will, right? This is a college campus. Security guards were watching a Chinese men's soccer team win an Asian game. We just start feel like this is our channel to vent ourselves, to celebrate victory. That was patriotic, so they supported. But then the celebration becomes something a lot louder, a lot more deeper. We will actually start to go outside, walking around, arms in arms. We're yelling and chanting freedom, democracy, human rights, reforms. And I did not go back to my dormitory until 2 a.m. My roommate almost called cops, said I disappeared. By the time I went back, my face was red. I was so excited and awake. And where do you go? I said, today is my most exciting day of my life. What? I protested. I demonstrated. And I want to have more freedom. She looked at me. She's very brainwashed little communist, too sad. She told me, go to bed. Next time, I'm going to call cops on you. And later, she did get promoted, become leader of law school. And I don't know how those people think today with what's going on in China. But we have word difference when it comes to, freedom and rights. I don't know why I was different this way. Maybe thanks to my dad and my grandmother. So Also, if you were oppressed for so long as a little girl, when you have a chance to yell loud, you want to hear yourself. I never knew I could be so loud. Feeling freedom, democracy, I used to be, yes, mom, yes, dad, yes, teacher, yes, principal, yes, boss. It's always yes, yes, yes. But when you have opportunity like that, you yell so loud. I was a leader in the front too. And I said, wow, I have very strong, powerful voice. I never knew that. I could be so loud. I never, become a singer to find out. So we burned the fire, and later, our party were banned at the beginning by Department of Education, but later they could not ban anymore because the people were just dancing in the hallway with their boombox. And here I was practicing disco with my best friend in college. We learned, all kinds of dancing styles and foreign music, and we can wear colorful clothes now. They could not stop us. We had to put our hair up anymore. And so that was about my junior year, second year to third year of college. And China was going through 1980s cultural renaissance. That was before the Tiananmen Square, remember 1989? I was in college from 81 to 85. I would say it was the best years of my life up to that point. We were going through all kinds of experimental, cultural renaissance. We were asking for more freedom. We were talking to foreign professors and the students. And we wanted to move our body any way we want. You don't tell me how to move my body, right? It's always stand up stiff and like this. Hey, now we can do disco. We can move our bodies any way we want. It's like we never experienced free movement of our own bodies until up to that point. Of course, we did waltz and 3-step, 4-step, and jitterbug and country dance, even the like a tango. Well, some people are very good with tango. I wasn't very good. I like a disco because I can dance it by myself without a partner. And we have foreign students come to China colleges, and you can see here, I'm still smiling, but I can have long hair now. And there are some European students, and so we were so interested in what other people have to say about their countries, their culture, their system. And not in this picture, American exchange student who met me at a dancing party, and he said, Lily, come to my dormitory. I will show you something from America. I thought it was like a piece of art or something. I said, yes, I would like to come. To go to see foreign student, there is a guard. You have to register, and you put down your name, your major, your address. What are you going to talk about? Time to check in and time to check out. I did that. And I went to his dormitory, and he said, I want to show you something from America. Guess what? Our Pakistan's constitution with the Declaration of Independence. My English was so poor. What is this? He said, it's our American as a country founding document. Let me just read you this first paragraph, say what you think. So he read to me. I said, read slowly. My English is bad. He said, we held this truth to be self-evident. All men are created equal. I understand those. He had to read 2 or 3 times, explain to me. Then he continued to read about, the natural rights each human being have, and endowed by, God, given to you by God, by your creator, not by your government. I said, what do you mean? I'm Chinese. He said, it doesn't matter if you're Chinese, you're a man or woman, your skin color. God created all humans, not the government. So they cannot take your rights away. It's called the individual right. You have a right to pursue happiness. I was like, wow, I come back, talk more. Because he just turned my light bulbs on in my head. It's like, I never heard of such a concept before. I went back for a few more times, and I refused to register. I was a college student. I told myself, I have an individual right. I have a right to go see this foreign student. Why do I have to register? You don't have to know. So I watch the old lady when she disappeared to go to the bathroom or pull her hot water for a cup of tea. I would just tiptoe, run upstairs very quick, and watch. When she's not watching, I come down and escape. I never got caught. If I do get caught, I probably have to go to my department chair. I don't know if they'll kick me out. They'll give me a warning and write up in my student file report or something like that. And he told me more about separation of powers. You have a right to vote, choose your own representative. And you have free speech and press and demonstration, association. All that good stuff I never really had in China. And the most important, a right to bear arms. Really? Yeah. Really? Wow, it's like this country sounds fantastic to me. If I had to leave China someday, this is the country I want to go. I was not ready to leave China yet. I was a naive college student. I still wanted to transform China to contribute to my motherland. But that day did come. When I graduated, I actually tried to stay in Shanghai because Shanghai is a more international trade city and more open than Sichuan. Normally, you will get a job, send you back to Chengdu, where you come from. But I use my little strategies. I have some professors, leaders like me, some don't. So I worked out the difference. I stay in Shanghai. I got one of the only 5 faculty positions to teach in school. Out of 60 graduate students. That time, we need a teacher so bad, a college degree would do. You don't have to have master's or PhD because we're the first graduation class in law for Fudan University. Once I become faculty member, my reality kick in. My reality, look, I cut my hair, I even permanent it, I look more professional, I dress up more professionally because my Communist Party boss criticize me all the time. Like, you cannot act like students, you cannot go to dancing party with it. I'm just 1 year older than my friends or students. But I was 21 years old. It's like I could not manage my own personal affairs and even don't know how to go to dancing party, go to socialize with people for my own pleasure. That's how much they want to control you. They think your behavior is not approved. Especially now, you're a Communist Party. In order to teach in law school, you have to join Communist Party because they don't trust your loyalty otherwise. And you are teaching, plus you are teaching students about laws. What is a law, according to them? They told us in law school, law is a tool for the governing class to use to govern its people. It has nothing to do with protecting people's rights and provide justice. I was very disappointed with the Soviet Union law model. So I become rebellious, and when I become even Communist Party member, they put me on probation, and they just watch me like a hawk every day. But I no longer can go back to old way, to say long live Chairman Mao, long live party. I just can't. My light bulbs came on. My eyes are open. My mind is different. But I try to comply. Okay, I will do whatever you say because I decided here's a country called America, and the door is open for graduate school. I could apply to graduate school, find an American sponsor, raise money to come here by myself. But I had to quit my job. The hardest part, I had to get my Communist Committee chair permission to leave. If he does not give me a piece of paper, I cannot get my passport. So I had to change my strategy. Here's the straight smart sense comes to play. How do I get him to like me again? Oh, you have to go to political meetings. You have to say kumbayas. Yes, I support this. I agree with it. You are right. Yeah, I agree. Okay. So you have to show active participation. You cannot just be quiet there when you have your weekly political study meetings. And after a while, he and I kind of work out a little bit difference. I say, can I leave? Can I go to the United States to get my master's degree so I can come back and do my job better? Strategy. He said, okay, but you have to sign a piece of paper, agreement. The agreement is that you need to come back right after your master's degree. Okay? Or two consequences. Number one, we're going to kick you out of party. Okay? Not a big deal. Yeah. Second, remember I told you about personnel file from student file. The file follows you. So I had a file in Shanghai because I become a Shanghai resident, legally working there with benefits. If I don't go back, they're going to kick my file back to Chengdu, local police station somewhere near my old address. And in that file, they're going to mark, I never come back on time. We don't know where he is today. So she's not going to come back in Shanghai, work, play, live as a legal resident. I thought about that for a few minutes. I had to sign. I had to bite my lips to sign. That means that up to that point, I have to be determined to make it. When I come to this country, whatever way I can figure out, I have to make it. And hopefully, I don't have to ever go back. It's like a flea somewhere, right? You don't want to go back. So I was so depressed for my first 2 years law school teaching career until I decided I'm going to leave China. And I had to, change my strategy. 1988, May 11th, that evening, about 5 p.m., I remember so clearly, I arrived at Austin, Texas airport. Happiest day of my life. Like finally I'm free. And that was 2 months before my 24th birthday. I tell college students, I was older than you are today. That's why I feel young, because my 24 years in China did not count. I started here as a fresh human being. I was so happy. I got a book, some Chinese medicine I never used, throw away later, and $100. $100 raised from my friends. My family were very poor, could not give me anything. I told my friends, I'm going to be rich in America. Give me $10. I will pay you back with interest. Because $10, $1 equal lots of Chinese money that time. So I write them down the list. Actually, some of them I don't know where they are today. Someday I'll find them, pay them back with a lot more interest. I couldn't speak English. My English wasn't very good. And I owe my professor sponsor $1,200 to buy air ticket, to pay for TOEFL exam test, and to do all those other expenses and stuff. And I stay in his house, clean and cook in exchange for free rent. I didn't know how to pay bills. I went to graduate school, but thank goodness, the first night in America is like a destiny. I showed up, and my sponsor picked me up. Let's say hello to your dean of the School of Social Work. I did not know what social work school is about. I just know I'm supposed to help people. The reason I go to that school because my sponsor told me, we can't get you in without GRE. I couldn't pass GRE, the graduate school test. So we did it, got my visa, and showed up and say hi. Said, let's go say hello to your dean. And here is Dean. Say, welcome to Austin, Texas. She's my mother-in-law today. She gave me a rose. And I met John the first night when I arrived in Austin, Texas. He was standing behind his mother's back. I just remember his eyes were so blue, looked like an alien. And I just came over from 1.1 billion Chinese at that time. We all look the same, and I just feel like a home. Like his mother was like earthly, motherly like, and John was very nice. Offered to tour campus with me next day, and my English was so bad. I remember he took me to Dinosaur Museum. I could not understand any source. All I heard is source and source and source. I said, can I go home, sleep now, have jet lag, and have diarrhea? When you first go to a foreign country, you are changing soil and water. Be careful. First 2 weeks, I was having diarrhea. Don't know why. No matter what I eat. It's like I'm totally changing my system, my stomach. And then they feed me Texas best bluebell ice cream and the watermelon. And the watermelon make my diarrhea worse. But I was so polite. I got to eat all that. I cannot say no. And they're all trying to teach me English. So every day I carry a little book to learn English, write down English words, and put a Chinese translation there. And so 3 years graduate school. And John and I actually dated for 1.5 years. And before we got married in graduate school, dirt poor, by the time we went to China first time, that I took him to my grandma's village. And that was really, really fun because my grandmother's another woman story I need to tell another time. She is a fighter also. And she's my hero. She's a tough lady. And here it goes through very quick. And John, first time smoked Chinese tobacco with my half uncle. And this courtyard used to be confiscated by the Communist Party when they first took over. It belonged to my grandmother's parents. They were liquored businessmen. And so she married. Later, my grandmother did not want to bind her feet. Remember, lotus feet for women, for girls 7 years old, 5, 6 years old, to bind the feet, crush your bones, so you cannot walk. Chinese men were, faucet men were very sick. They think a woman have little tiny feet are beautiful, and they cannot even walk. They walk like this. I saw a woman like that. My grandma said, "Father, if you make me to bind my feet, I'm going to kill myself." She was a real fighter. So she had natural big feet. Now guess what? Her parents said, well, you're going to marry peasants because have feet. That little tiny feet is going to marry up. They're middle class. Guess what? My grandmother married to one of the Chinese outlaw leader as a second wife. Then she had a big natural feet later to flee China village because her husband was killed. When my mother was only 2 years old, my another uncle was 1 year old. So my family had a really interesting background stories. Maybe that's why I'm a fighter. I'm just firebrand because I inherited from my grandmother and my father. And when I took John back, and this yard belongs to them again, and now it's really, really old. But I will show you very quick that when I come back, with my graduate school, I worked as a home health social worker, then later become a corporate manager after I come back from Hong Kong. I wanted to learn about business. I always am interested in markets, so I become a corporate manager here for a telecom company. I thought that was my American dream. We bought a house, we have kids, we have 2 income, 2 cars, it's great. Boom, I got laid off after telecom bubble crash. And I got a pink slip. I don't know what to do. I told John, I'm going to start my own business. I always dreamed to be entrepreneur. Give me a chance to do it. He said, okay, we'll just tie our bill. So later, I started Chinese consulting import for 8 years, not profitable, until 2008, real estate bubble. And I got into real estate after read Rich Dad, Poor Dad, some other real estate books, and zero experience. I told myself very quickly to go out to learn about residential rental business. So here's one of the condos John tried to fix up. And so whenever I hear people say, you did not build that, I get mad. I did not build that. Who is helping me clean houses, fix up toilets? And we had no weekends in 2009. We're constantly buying, fixing up, finding tenants, then go take a bank loan again, get the money out. It's like a big circle. You start all over again. No weekends in 2009. It's like, I didn't build that. Well, who else is there getting down on the knees and clean that dirty toilet, have total house cleaning? See, my husband had to work on the weekends after he worked daytime as an engineer, Mondays through Fridays. We're working more than full time. And I show people, this is current apartment my parents own, my brothers live there. I lived there from 15 to 17 until I went to Shanghai. 2 families share 1 bathroom. You have to climb like on the top floor stairs. Sometimes, low light, very hot in the summer, very cold in the winter. And that's the best apartment, best home I ever had in China. And I had my little room so I could study and sleep. That was a huge improvement from like a big hole on the ground, 8 families share 1 water faucet. And this is our house in Parker, Colorado. Our first home. And of course, you have to have a dog when you talk about American dream or other pets. So I got 2 cars, a house, and yeah. I have a 5-bedroom and 4.5 baths, so everybody can use the toilet. Actually, when I go to high school and middle school, kids always say, "How many bathrooms do you have there?" I say, "The 4.5. Which one would you choose?" They say, "This one." So it's when you show pictures and tell personal stories, really kids can remember that very well. And the first time in my life, I voted year of 2000. I become a citizen after I married John. I then go through a citizen's test and wait for a few years. You can apply for citizenship. I tell people I actually went to Benson High School in Arizona and told people my stories. I did not vote first time in my life until I was 36 years old. Lots of people are still fighting for their right. I said, "You are turning into citizens. What are you going to do? Are you going to try to keep your freedom and your rights?" And 85% of high school graduation class register to vote after they hear my presentations. That's what their teacher told me. And they write to me, "Thank you," those through emails too. I was so happy. I wanted to John take this picture. It's my new chapter of my life. I'm a citizen, and I can vote. And I can testify now. I did not speak very good English when I first time went to state capitol. 2013, guess what I testified against? They want to ban magazines in Colorado. So I feel threatened. First time I got out of couch to say, I got to tell them, why are they trying to take away our, Second Amendment rights, or trying to just slowly chip away little by little? So I testified. They totally ignored me. They voted party and I anyway. But that was a great experience for me. I see that citizens can make an impact. They can organize. We waited a whole day to get in there. They keep us outside. And I thought, if I'm going to wait forever here, I'm not going to be heard. So I went to this guy who is president of Rocky Mountain Gun Owners Association. I said, "I'm Chinese immigrant. I'm a new citizen. I feel passionate about Second Amendment. Can I go inside with you?" He's an expert witness, so he doesn't have to wait in line. So I go inside. I told my story. And sometimes you have to do what you have to do to survive, right? You cannot just wait there for a whole day. You don't get hurt. And I can go to rally now. We rally together, actually with people from both sides, left and right, and even parents and even some teachers, against the Common Core and standardized testing, collecting students' data. We're outside the state capitol here. And we are still fighting today. It's like, what's going on in this country? Nobody likes Common Core. Nobody really likes this centralized data collection. How come it's still going on? It's like parents become more and more powerless when it comes to their kids' education. Have to keep fighting. And I'm so blessed in this great country. Here's my current family. This took, I think, just last summer or maybe 2 years ago. And my first boy, Arthur, 27 years old, Air Force officer, graduate of Air Force Academy. This is Captain Williams today in North Dakota. Of course, John is here. Here, my husband, John. Yeah, stand up, yeah. And thank to John who saved my soul. Without John, without my husband, I might be still statist. I might not totally, waking up. So for 20 years, actually 29 years of marriage, but I did not wake up just 20 years, like 2008, not long ago, because of his patience, his teaching. He's pointed me to the light and read other books besides the crap education I got from China. So I wake up after his years of teaching. And of course, my second boy, we're going to see in San Diego. He's working in northern San Diego as a banker, and my daughter in college, and she's starting third year next week. I feel so blessed in this country. I have what American dream, right? What American dream. Now today, I'm I manage my own business. And I'm sorry.
Where is she in school?
Oh, she's in University of Colorado. And she told me all about schools and teachers, and we have to talk to her. Sometimes we have to help her understand. But we also teach her to be straight smart. Don't get an F from the professor you don't like. And when I show this picture, there's middle school, high school kids always say, "Oh, like such a good family." And I tell them, then how do you keep America as a free country? How do you defend our freedom and rights? And then some students have no clue what happened in China, 1989. You all remember Tiananmen Square massacre? And look how many students there in Tiananmen Square. And we were hopeful. I was in the United States already. I was watching every day to hope they will have some good, a talk. And they were not asking to overthrow government. They were asking just for more reforms and dialogues. They want to be heard. They want to negotiate, talk. And tanks come in. You remember Tank Man? Tank Man, we don't know where he is today. He's disappeared since this historical moment. And of course, there's a documentary just won the award at the Freedom Fest this last July. About the Tank Man. I watched and shared that. It was crushed down. I could not show this picture to the middle school, high school students because I'm afraid that some parents will not like it. It's just violent pictures too. It's like we don't know official records. They said over 10,000 people died. Yes, but there's no names. Their case is seized, is closed. The case is called the counter-revolutionary case. Some mothers still fighting, but some mothers have passed away. They cannot correct this case. Every June 4th, when you go to China, you get a random checks and stops. I was stopped in June 4th in Beijing one time. I was in my friend's car. They told me that, show your ID. They know I speak Mandarin. I said, well, American citizen, what you're doing to me is not legal. We don't care. Show your ID or you want to be coming out of your car. I show my American passport. I still just kind of complain about it. There's nothing else I can do. And that's why, now you watch Hong Kong today. The young people are fighting for their future, for their freedom rights. I'm really worried about Hong Kong people. They're so brave. I think some of them are prepared to die. It's not going to end well unless the international community, they all come out against the big bully. But I don't know. UK has not said much so far. And this is my picture I want to show you. How do we defend our rights? To tell you about my guns, first time when I held guns and fire, I was so scared. I did not know how to handle guns. I was scared. And then later, I got trained how to do it. And I feel so empowered. Wow, first time I really feel I'm free. I'm not a slave anymore. So you can see the picture here I put down. I once was a slave before, and I will never be one again. If you don't have your Second Amendment rights, you cannot defend all the other rights you have. And look at what happened again and again. The first step, all the big tyrants, what they want to do, they want to disarm their citizens. They want to have a domination, total monopoly in weapons. So I have this picture. If you like it, I can sign for you, ask for donation. I can sign you bilingual, my Chinese name and the English name. And the contact information I have is down here. If you like my stories, want to follow me and write to me, get me to talk in your groups, So I have a Facebook page, Lily for Liberty, and a Twitter, YouTube channel. I'm not very active on YouTube now. I'm trying to stay a little bit low profile. I want to get active someday. Then my Instagram. So thank you very much for your time to listen to my stories. Hope you think that my story is inspirational to you, and we cannot be silent, and we cannot be passive, because what happened to me can happen here, can happen to your children, grandchildren. So when you feel tired, when you feel lonely, when you feel like you are the minority, continue going, continue fight for the right cause. And thanks again, Ron, for having me here tonight. Yeah, appreciate it.